As a man of wealth, Draco Malfoy could have easily chosen a life of leisure and political intrigues, just as his father had done. However, his acquittal by the Wisengamot came with firm recommendations that the young man commit himself to noble causes connected to the common good, altruism, and redemption in the eyes of public opinion. After several years roaming the continent, leaving behind a trail of rebellion and curses, Draco returned to London determined to change the course of his life. He completed the Auror training program in record time, 3 years condensed into a year and a half, and quickly took up that prestigious position. His choice had been carefully strategic. The Auror role provided enough heroism to improve his public image, as well as serious challenges that kept him interested. Draco proved to be an exceptional Auror. His near turn to the dark side granted him insightful understanding of the minds of dark wizards, making him especially effective in his duties. However, his competence attracted increasingly difficult cases, assigned by the head of the Auror department, Madame Nymphadora Tonks. On a gray January morning, Tonks walked through the department distributing the month's missions with relentless rigor. Montjoy was sent to Heathpool, where 3 Muggle children had been found dead and gutted. Buckley received a task on the Isle of Man to investigate necromancy, often accompanied by Humphreys as support, under advice to avoid traumatizing her. Potter and Weasley were responsible for advancing the vampire investigation in Dales, while Goggin was to handle a disturbing case of transfiguration torture applied to Muggle prostitutes in Glenluce. When Tonks reached Draco's desk, her tone turned ironic as she gave him the chance to choose his mission, referring to it as poison. 2 folders were left on the desk. The first contained a grotesque case involving a wizard accused of improper acts with trolls, provoking a mix of repulsion and disgust in Draco. The second held an official request, a high-profile protection case requested by the Minister of Magic himself. Draco, already bothered by the prospect of the troll case, did not hesitate to accept the protection mission, only to discover that his charge was none other than Hermione Granger. Her photo adorned the folder, accompanied by a brief biographical note reaffirming her importance within an ultra-secret project. When informing Tonks of his reluctance, he received little understanding. Tonks insisted that old-school disputes would not interfere with duty fulfillment and forced Draco to accept the task. The mission swap with Fernsby, who waited in the area, occurred without major objections. In the following days, Draco established initial contact with Granger, exchanging cold and professional notes. She responded downplaying the urgency of the protection request, but due to the minister's insistence, the plan moved forward. A meeting was scheduled for 9 a.m. at Trinity College, Cambridge. At the agreed location, Draco passed unnoticed among Muggles and wizards, until a doorman warned him about the reception protocol for Dr. Granger. Guided to a discreet door, he entered King's Hall, a place loaded with history and academic atmosphere, where he sought information to find the director's office. Upon arriving at the door marked Granger, Draco rang the bell and was attended by an enigmatic figure dressed in a white coat and strange protective equipment. After verifying the appointment, he was led inside the laboratory. Inside, the reunion was tense. Neither was a child anymore, and the wounds of the past still referred to a war and rivalry that seemed distant but present. Granger received Draco with cutting formality and critically appraised him. Draco, for his part, noticed the ethereal and academic side of the woman before him, now director of a project intriguing both the ministry and himself. The conversation centered on the theoretically innovative and dangerous research project, the reason for the unusual ministerial protection request. Draco tried to obtain details, always suspicious, but Granger maintained strict confidentiality, aware of the risks that scientific advancement could pose to certain sectors of the magical community. In the following hours, Draco carried out a thorough examination of the laboratory's magical defenses, disarming elaborate protective spells and residual threats. Granger watched with a mixture of restrained pride and irritation, aware of the limits of the security she herself had implemented. The Auror focused his attention on the most trivial and common objects, glowing light boxes, Muggle computers that seemed unintelligible enigmas to him. Granger explained that the data was housed in the cloud, avoiding the direct risk of physical damage, which step by step showed the care and complexity of the project. Finally, Draco launched his final challenge, a penetration test of the digital and physical security measures, promising to present recommendations to improve Granger's protection and convince Shacklebolt, the minister, of the real need for vigilance. The meeting did not end in cordiality, but with tacit respect. As Draco prepared a visit to the minister to discuss the case, he realized his mission would be more arduous than he had imagined, involving old rivalries, ministerial politics, and advances that could alter the future of the wizarding community. At night, in the silence of King's Hall, Draco awaited the start of the test. Granger, exhausted from her work at St. Mungo's Hospital, arrived wearing her green healer uniform, readily showing the same determination that had launched her into so many challenges throughout her life. The test began, and Draco would dissect not only the laboratory's defenses but his own resistance to the past and the woman who would so greatly challenge his personal history.